Alright guys, we're here with Wanda from the Naughty Nannas, and she's just going to share with us a little bit about whatever, I don't know what she's going to share with us, just a story that she wants to share and about why you've been standing up and what you've been doing.
Well, I came to Canberra, the very first rally in on the 31st of January. I was part of that convoy from Yass into Canberra, and ever since then I've been coming back every couple of weeks. Stay for up to 10 days at a time. Sometimes it's a day visit, sometimes overnight, and like I said, sometimes up to 10 days. And my husband and I were never comfortable with the whole thing when they started rolling out the jabs. Just didn't feel right. And I was already aware of a lot of corruption that was going on at high level. And just every day almost you learn something more and you think, really? And we've got to a point where we're aware that it's our generation and probably my older siblings' generation, because they're a little older than me, that have been asleep for too long. And even though we might not have always thought that the things that were going on were right, we've never really stood up. And I suppose about 2 years ago, my husband suggested that maybe we should start going to some of these rallies. And I said to him, oh, really? Anyway, we went to a Saturday rally down in Wanda, and ever since then, one of us or both of us have been going anywhere nearby. So we're sort of between Dubbo and Wagga, so Dubbo, Wagga, Canberra.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of difference in distance, but I've probably clocked up a few kilometres over the last 2 years, and I've built some beautiful friendships down here. And I agree totally that we need to expose the corruption, and especially when it comes to the children and what they're trying to cover up. I mean, we've been part of the foster care system 20 years ago, and when I stood up to them, they didn't like it a whole lot and they tried to snowball me a bit. But I happened to be down here being involved in an event in Parliament House, and the office had been in touch with me, and I wasn't getting very far with what I was making my stand on. Anyway, I had to send a letter to them, and one of the security guys inside Parliament House said, oh, I've got a fax machine in here, you can use it. Well, docs jumped through every hoop I wanted for the next 6 months, because they were very nervous that I had friends in places that they didn't. And yeah, so I could see the corruption back then. And back in 2005, my husband and I were involved in a sexual integrity forum that was held within the walls of Parliament House, which our friend Bill Heffernan was part of. He was a co-sponsor of that. And when I learnt about Bill's speech about exposing the corruption and the alleged pedophiles of prominent stature, I very quickly joined the dots that only 10 months after he went to the Legislative Council and made that speech, he was not put forward for selection again at the half-Senate re-election the following June. Now that rang alarm bells for me. And like I said, I'd met Bill before because I'd worked with him within the walls of Parliament House. And I'd met his sister, and I travelled with her from near home. And together we also did a National Marriage Day, and Bill supported that. But anything in the last, it was in the 2000s, from 2002 to probably 2010, I was in and out of Parliament House with a pass and being involved in different events there, and often asked by some of our federal politicians to be a part of an event they were also running themselves. And we did a lot of lobbying on family issues and especially children. And so I've been aware of different kinds, different levels of impasse that there is within government ranks for quite some time. And then when I got down here and people are really were pushing the whole Expose the 28, which is high profile alleged pedophiles that Bill tried to uncover. My husband and I have really got on that bandwagon because as a child I'm a victim of child abuse by not high-ranking people, but my friends of my parents. And back then, if you opened your mouth, it was shh, shh, don't tell anyone. And that's what they were like. And even as a young adult, I was touched by someone and I just said straight out to them, if you ever do that again, that's the last time you'll see me. And when I spoke to this person's sister about it, it was shh, shh, don't tell anyone. And so I'm aware people are trying to cover this up all the time. And even within the foster care system, I'm trying to think, it would have been between 2000 and 2010. Yeah, we had lots of children come through our house who had been sexually abused. And it's just a disgusting problem, a horrible thing that should never happen. So my husband and I are here to stand up for the children, to stand against these high-profile alleged pedophiles. And we've even got a family member who came out and named a former Governor-General as a perpetrator to her. And within weeks, she suddenly died of a supposed drug overdose. And that was all highly suspicious. Her family, closer family members at the time, didn't say anything, but now they're coming out and saying she may have been a lot of things, but suicidal was not one of them. So they're now really questioning how come she suddenly died only a few weeks after she came out and named a former Governor-General. So, I'm well aware of all the corruption, and it's not just the pedophiles, it's on all levels. And I've questioned some local members of our council recently on a few things, and they try and backpedal. They don't want to talk to you. And I said, oh, so I've asked this question and now you don't want to answer me, you just want to run away. No, they said. But at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they had another meeting to go to. And I thought, yeah, right. I didn't believe them. And I told them I didn't believe them. I told them I felt they were running away. And this was a new general manager to our council. Anyway, the next time I met her in a public forum, she must have remembered me well because she greeted me by my name. So I thought, well, obviously I made an impression on her. And she didn't like the questions I asked that day either. But tough.
Yeah.
Someone's got to ask them. Someone's got to stand up. And if others won't stand up, I will. I will continue to stand up for the children. I'll continue to stand up for what's right. Because for too long, we've been silenced. We've been made to feel ashamed of what we know or what's happened to us. And people need to know so that they know that they are not the only ones who have been the victims. They need to know that we all need to stand up together, and together we can make a difference.
I remember yesterday, like when we were sitting in court and I was sitting behind you and some of the other women of this movement, and I was just sitting there looking at you and you all, and just looking up to you as an inspiration because of how strong you've all been. And I guess I'm referring to the Naughty Nannas here and the spirit of the Naughty Nannas, and just how inspiring that is for some of us to see you women together, standing up, standing strong. Do you want to speak to a little bit the spirit and the heart of the Naughty Nannas, and maybe the cheekiness of the Naughty Nannas?
The cheekiness? No, Ruby and I were never cheeky. So, well, some of the ladies that you're talking of are not nanas at this stage, but we've included them. They're our age, so they're sort of within the group. But yeah, we don't want to see the complete ruination of this country for our children and our grandchildren. So we will stand up, and where our children won't stand up and our grandchildren are too young to fend for themselves, we will stand up. One night I was having dinner with Ruby and a group of others, and we were just sitting there talking, and the term Naughty Nana just fell out of my mouth, and Ruby says, I like that. She says, I think that's what we should call ourselves. So ever since then, and that's about 13 months ago, we've had this tag of the Naughty Nanas, and the group has grown, and we'll chalk messages on pavements. I'll do an instruction wherever I can when I have an opportunity and post it up, and that's encouraged others to stand up. So I really don't think I'm doing any more than what I feel called to do. And if we can all stand up and do the little bit that we can do, that may spark someone else to stand up as well. And that's really what Ruby and I wanted to do, just encourage others to speak up.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just Ruby and I, but we did form a friendship, a close friendship. And as I've said before, it wasn't a long time that I knew Ruby, but the conversations we had, they'll live on in my heart and my memory of her forever. She inspired me, and she said at different times there were things I said to her that encouraged her. And yeah, it's just, like I said, some of the friendships we've made, my husband and I have made in this movement, have been, I think, a lifelong friendships that we've formed. My husband can't always come to Canberra, but there's times when he said, you haven't been down for a while, so you better go. So he always gives me freedom to come down here and stay for anywhere from one night to a week, depending on how I feel about it. And he feels that that there's no threat to me with those who I stay with down here. So that's good, and everyone appreciates the fact that my husband has given me freedom to come down and be here with people.
Yeah.
With like-minded people.
Yep.
And it's nice that sometimes I'll get a message and ask, can I research something before I come, because they want to know a bit more background. And if I've got time and the opportunity, I'll research it, print stuff out and bring that down when I come back.
So to wrap this up, what would be your vision of the world, the type of world that you want to live in, and the type of world that you want your grandchildren to be able to live in?
Well, I can see at the moment we're heading down the road towards communism. I don't want to see that. There's a lot of government overreach, and we're trying to push back on that. So I'd like to see a place where you can be free to speak your mind. You can be free to travel. You're not forced to do things you don't feel comfortable with. because that's where things have gone. And I'm very glad that my girlfriend's parents are no longer here to see this, because they went through it all in World War II, with my girlfriend's dad being a Jew in Germany. And yeah, my girlfriend and I are very, very sad that her parents and my parents are gone, but the freedom that our relatives have fought for in the previous wars have been given away, because we've all been railroaded. They've come in and quietly taken away the freedom that our fathers and grandfathers fought for. So I'd like to see a more, more relaxed, more open, more free country. A lot of government overreach. I think when they brought in the GST in 2000, we thought it mightn't have been a bad thing. But now I can see where that has led to, and that was just another cover-up, another corrupt cover-up, more deception. We need truth and transparency, not lies and deception. And all we're getting from the current government and the previous government has been lies and deception. We need truth and transparency.
Thank you, Wanda.